board meeting of the Nassau Interim Finance Authority. I think here's what we're going to do. We're going to do committee meetings first, then we're going to go into the regular board meeting.
Want to start with audit?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, it is 6:35 on December 18th, and I'm calling to order a meeting of the Nassau County Interim Finance Authority Audit and Internal Controls Committee. I would note that all 4 members of the committee are present, as Director Esdrin, so that we are in a position where we have the full board present. Everybody's welcome to ask questions. That may limit the questions that might occur in the full board meeting should they arise, since they'll have the opportunity during the committee. With that, we have a first item on the agenda, which is to approve the minutes of our last meeting, which was April 28th, 2025. Would somebody like to move the approval?
I move it.
It's made. Is it seconded?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Minutes are approved. The only other item for our consideration, unless anything else comes up, is consideration of the audit plan, which is the upcoming audit for 2025. This is a customary procedure to set the plan and approve it so that the auditors are then in a position to execute it for a timely audit in 2026. I'll turn it over to Carl.
Thank you and good evening. As we approach year end, our focus turns to the annual financial audit of the Nassau County Interim Finance Authority. We have on the phone Brent Jensen of the EFPR Group, who is the engagement partner. Brent, if you're there, you can take it away.
I am, Carl. Can you hear me?
No.
A little bit.
Barely.
A little bit,
I
yeah.
want to
You can barely hear me? All right. We did a sound check. I thought we were
Much
set.
better now.
Is that any better or not?
It is
Yeah, turn it on.
a little more.
All right.
We're staring at the.
You should have in front of you the document that I sent, the audit plan.
We do. We have all the documents, and we've also,
Yes.
just for the record, been able to read them in advance. So,
Okay. I'm going to try and go fairly quickly through these. If there's any questions, stop me at any point. So on the numbered page 1 of the document, we talk about the scope of services. We are going to provide attest services in relation to the financial statements in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and governmental auditing standards, and expect to issue our independent auditor's report, as well as the independent auditor's report on internal control and compliance in relation with government auditing standards, and the independent auditor's report on investment compliance. Should we find any issue that is not of best practice, we would also issue a management letter that would give some recommendation to the board on anything that may need to be improved. We would also meet with this committee and the board of directors as deemed necessary. Obviously, the first meeting is tonight. We usually do a meeting at close, and if there were any issue that arose, we would plan additional meetings as necessary. Our engagement team is largely consistent to last year. I am still the engagement partner. Doug Zimmerman is the technical review partner. We always have 2 partners assigned to any engagement, and he comes in with a fresh set of eyes at the end of the engagement. And then Dan Tyson is the senior accountant who will be assisting me and the rest of my team. On page 2, we talk about the management or your responsibilities for the audit. And management is expected to establish and maintain effective internal controls, identify and ensure compliance with relevant laws and regulations, select accounting principles, safeguard assets, make accounting estimates, and generally provide all necessary information to us in the course of the audit. And then at the close of the audit, you're also expected to provide a management representation letter that will have a number of representations made to us that are required in the audit. Additionally, should there be any non-attest services, such as assistance in preparing the financial statement or other assistance with accounting matters, we would need to have the result of the service reviewed and approved by your team.
Yep. And we're standing.
In terms of the engagement objectives on page 3,
Doug,
I'm sorry, was there a question?
Yeah, just for the record, as we go, we would obviously stand ready to approve services should that arise and allow you to comply with your professional standards.
Okay.
All right.
In terms of the engagement objectives, we are planning our audit to perform reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free of material misstatement. There is no absolute assurance given in any audit. We Also plan to review the audit strategy with you tonight. Inquire of the committee, which I would do now, if there are any issues or concerns, anything that would be a potential fraud concern, compliance concern, or anything that needs special attention.
All right. So
Is there anything the
we'll-
committee's aware of?
We'll pause for a second. I'll look to my left and my right and see if anybody would like to add or offer anything in that regard.
Just a question. Are the directors involved in any of this, other than ultimately approving the audit?
I believe we've been subject to fraud questionnaires. They'd like to know if we're aware of anything, typically as part of the closeout, so, yeah,
So they are.
yeah.
Do you guys, do you engage the directors? Do you interview any of the directors? Do you,
We ask in this meeting, we also can usually get a representative of the board or audit committee and have a more in-depth conversation in a more private venue as well.
okay, thank you.
Sure that you're right.
We also obtain an understanding of the authority's internal control necessary. Did I just cut out?
No, you're fine.
Okay, I just got a connection interrupted message, sorry. So I was saying we obtain an understanding of the internal control necessary for financial reporting. We do not report ultimately an opinion on internal control. And we would also expect to communicate any issues in the audit to this committee. So if there were any significant deficiencies, material weaknesses, or anything else of that course, we would bring that to the committee. And of course, we will maintain our independence throughout the audit process. In terms of the audit approach and planned scope on page 4, there are a number of things that contribute to our ultimate scope. We perform risk assessments on the entity to determine areas that we see significant risk. We consider prior year results. We consider inherent risk. We consider staffing levels and other recent developments in the industry. All of these things combined go into our risk assessment and ultimately inform our decision about what testing is necessary in the course of the audit. Given that, on page 5, given our prior history with this entity, we've developed what we believe to be the likely major areas of audit. I'm not going to read them all off to you, but I will note that amongst them is obviously the sales tax and debt, as those are really the most significant areas within this entity. And we always consider internal control over financial reporting and compliance in any audit.
And Carl, sales tax and debt are both 90% or more of the P&L or the balance sheet.
Absolutely,
So it's pretty
yes.
obvious why you would audit those two items.
But you audit the sales tax as it funds NIFA,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, and the whole as well, the whole
As it
billion.
passes through NIFA, what
Yeah.
we do is, as we receive it and then remit it to Nassau County, we each maintain the same schedule. And sometime around year end, we coordinate, making sure that the schedule syncs.
Yeah.
But we don't, but this audit does not, look at the sales tax projections
No.
No.
at all, right?
Just-
The
just the
actual
actual.
transaction.
Right.
Yeah.
The actual transaction, okay?
Now, this audit only focuses on the year gone by. It does not look at any projection
Right.
going forward.
Thank you.
On page 6 of the document, we talk about the audit approach. We've really been talking about the audit approach over the past couple pages, really. The risk assessment informs all of our testing, as I previously said, and we use that risk assessment to develop audit work programs and determine what are significant risk areas that we do substantive procedures, which may include inquiry and analytical procedures and would always include some level of substantive procedure as well. So that's really the nature of our overall audit approach. And on page 7, we talk about the audit timeline. So obviously, we're meeting with the committee tonight. We start really as soon as we get to the new year, developing the audit strategy and nature and scope of testing. You can see we've already identified the major areas that are likely to occur in this document here. We'll get information from Carl and start to further develop that throughout our audit, the audit plan, the risk assessment, all remains an open item. Should there be any area that comes up that's unexpected, they will be adjusted in accordance with that. We're expecting to perform most of our audit test work virtually during the month of February. That will also include confirmations for the agreed upon procedures. And then during February and early March, we would wrap up the audit and perform the financial statement review process so that we'd be prepared to report to this committee by March on the final financial statements. So that is really our expected timeline. Any questions on anything in that?
No, I don't see any. See none.
All right, then the last thing I'm going to mention is the last page of this document outlines a few new GASB statements. There actually was a new statement, GASB 105, released today
Subsequent events.
after I could have given you this. So now there's 4 upcoming standards. The good news is I'm not expecting major changes from any of this. There's nothing that's going to likely change numbers in your financial statements. These are really all items that are going to change potential disclosures within your financial statements only. So as these come up, we'll be talking with Carl and your team about these, making sure that these disclosures get in properly. But there's nothing that you really need to look forward to and change any systems for.
Oddly
now.
enough, there was not a breaking news alert on the way over about GASB 105
Surprised.
being passed by the
Correct.
Government Accounting Standards Board, but thank you for that.
But
Very
that'll
surprised.
be in effect for 2027.
2020, right.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Jensen,
Yes.
Mr. Jensen, just for the record and for the benefit of the public, obviously, while we expect at all times and in circumstances that the staff would provide you information as and when requested, should that ever not occur, or should you have any concerns at all, you have redressed through me as the chair of the audit committee, and should I not be sufficiently responsive through any other member of the board or the committee?
Of course, thank you for that. And that is exactly what our expectation would be. So should we ever have issues in performance of the audit, we would go to the committee to address those.
Great. That it?
Are there any further questions?
See none. Why don't we have a motion to accept the audit plan? I don't know that we need to approve it. Made, second? Seconded, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye,
Aye. The plan is accepted, and a motion to adjourn is now in order for the committee.
so moved.
Second? It's made and seconded, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye,
I vote aye. The committee is adjourned. Mr. Chairman, your meeting.
thank you. Now, we have a meeting of the Employment and Compensation Committee chaired by Lester Petracca. Lester, you want to call to order?
Sure, absolutely. I call to order the Employment and Compensation Committee meeting December 18th, 2025, 6:48 p.m. Our first order of business is the approval of the minutes of the Employment and Compensation Committee meeting of the 26th
I'll move
of
it.
November.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. The second item on the agenda is the recommendation regarding Employment and Compensation Committee charter and taking of related actions. Give you a little bit of background. The Employment and Compensation Committee charter requires that the committee report to the NIFA directors at least annually regarding any proposed changes to the charter, a copy of which is provided in the materials for the meeting. The charter was last updated May 11th, 2023. NIFA staff has reviewed the committee charter and does not recommend any revisions. Therefore, I would like to ask for a motion.
Made.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all matters are concluded, so I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Made.
All in favor?
Second.
Although, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr.
Okay,
Chairman?
the next meeting is of the Finance Committee,
Oh, he wanted one, right?
No, no.
and because
Sure.
that's me and you, Mo, I'd like to ask if you serve as temporary chair of the committee?
I'm good, thank you.
Sure. Okay, and I need another volunteer to be on the Finance Committee.
I'll volunteer.
Okay, Lester, thank you. So you've got you have your thing there?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chair Kessel. So I'll now call to order the Finance Committee meeting, and Move to approve the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting on November 26, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I think with that, I'll adjourn the Finance Committee meeting.
It was a long meeting.
All in favor?
Aye. All right, now we have the Governance Committee. Again, I have to appoint a temporary chair. Mo, you and I are on it. I'll be the temporary chair of the Governance Committee. I also need another committee member. Chris, thank you. I appreciate it. The call to order. First of all, we have approval of the minutes of the Governance Committee meeting
I'll move to...
November
I'll move
26,
to approve.
2024.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, readoption of the self-evaluation form for NIFA directors and taking of related actions.
I think the form is in fine shape, and it's worthy of readoption. I move that we approve it.
Okay, is there a second?
Yes, second.
Okay, second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, finally, recommendation regarding the Governance Committee charter and determination regarding performance of duties and taking of related actions. Do I hear a motion to
I'll
adopt?
move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
Thank you. That concludes the committee meeting, unless you want to have more of them.
Are there any left?
Well, that's a good question. We're now going to go into the meeting of the NIFA board itself. We've got some things, important things to discuss. So with that, I will call for a roll call of the board, starting with Mo.
Mo Megji, present.
Richard Kessel, present.
Chris Wright, present.
Lester Petracca, present.
Charo Esdran, present.
Okay, so there is a quorum. Just want to note for the record that all 5 members of the board are here tonight. There are 2 vacancies. We have had several discussions with the governor and her appointments office, and I'm hopeful that those vacancies will be filled in the first quarter of next year. But I do want to thank the directors for coming out tonight. I know it's the holiday season now, and a lot of people going away and celebrating different holidays, and I very much appreciate the fact that we have a full complement of directors tonight at this meeting. I appreciate it. Before we go into the action items, the new head of the CSEA has asked to address the board, and if Chris, you want to come on up and introduce yourself, I'd be glad to hear from you. And I think the whole board would be too.
Thank you. Am I speaking well with the mic? Great. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I know it's not common, so I just wanted to take a second to thank you just for letting me come up here and speak on behalf of the 4,200 members that we represent. As president, I represent the 4,200 municipal Nassau County employees, and I'm here to address one budgetary assumption relevant to your review today. The proposed county budget appears to include approximately $37 million in projected savings related to a voluntary separation incentive. As of today, the county has presented that incentive to us as a unilateral proposal. There has been no indication of a willingness to negotiate the terms of that agreement. Because there is no negotiated or executed agreement in place, those savings are not assured. At this point, it would be reasonable to assume that $37 million should not be treated as realized for budgetary purposes. Based on our internal polling, we project that departures by CSEA represented employees alone would exceed the $37 million figure currently being assumed in the budget. That raises further questions about whether the savings estimate accurately reflects the potential scale of workforce reductions and their downstream effects. In addition, we also have concerns how the incentive, as currently structured, would affect the remaining workforce, particularly in critical program areas. This includes 911 operators in the Police Communications Bureau, where staffing levels are already strained, posing a real threat to officer and public safety. We recently were made aware about extended wait times for citizens who call 911 and losing more operators would exacerbate that situation. At social services, our CPS caseworkers are managing extremely high caseloads in an already high-pressure environment. Current intake levels, including roughly 1 case per day for most workers, raise serious sustainability concerns. Further reductions in these areas raise operational and service level concerns that should be considered alongside any projected savings. Our statement today is not intended to address whether an incentive is appropriate in concept. We appreciate the consideration for an added benefit for our long-term members and support it, but only with appropriate terms. The statement is intended to clarify the current status of the proposal and the risks associated with treating its projected savings as finalized. CSEA remains available to engage in discussions regarding an incentive, and until that occurs, we believe the budget should be evaluated without assuming those savings. Thank you again for your time, and it's important to be here.
Mr. Chairman, before it goes, John, I know we have in our resolution, we just used a number of 27 million assumed for the voluntary. Is it 27 or 37?
It is, I'm sorry, it's
Martha, you wanna come up?
27 million.
Okay.
The 10 million is considered for regular attrition, 27.
So it's a total of 37.
Yes.
So we're dealing with the same apples and apples.
10 million
Got it,
is for
okay.
regular
Got it.
attrition, 27 for the
Okay.
place itself.
Thank you. All right, just want to clarify the fact.
Chris, I wanted to ask about the status of the proposal. Does the proposal have to be approved by the county legislature?
So, to our knowledge, the county legislature, when they approved the budget, had the incentive as a part of it. We just have a memorandum of agreement that's typically been done in the past. We've heard varying between yeses and nos to
Well-
answer your question, but we have not got the exact,
So let me ask you something. So it's now December 18th, and the separation is to end when?
the opt-in period is until February 19th.
Till February 19th. So at this point, no one's opted in, no one's opted in because there is no memorandum of understanding or agreement, right?
Correct, and we only received the paperwork Friday afternoon.
You received the paper for, so when do you expect the legislature to take this up?
Sir, I don't know that we're at that point, at any point, because we haven't negotiated, and we have 4,200 people that we have to be concerned with, and without properly making sure that everyone who's remaining here is going to be able to do their jobs, we can't even think at the ledge. We're looking for the county to speak with us. We've indicated that a few times, and they haven't reached out. We indicated again today, just as another formality. They have no interest in speaking with us, so
Well, maybe they're busy doing other things. I'll leave it at that. But let me just ask you, is it possible that the time will run out for people to opt in because it hasn't been adopted formally?
Sure.
Is that something that you foresee?
it definitely could. If the legislature's not going to meet until the mid to end of January, by the time everything gets finalized, I mean, it could be, certainly.
And if they approve the program in January, it only gives you a certain amount, a lot less time than you normally would have had it been approved beforehand, correct?
Sure, and we were notified about this back in September. So
Right.
the fact that we were notified in September and didn't see the agreement until Friday, doesn't leave a lot of time for people to
Right.
make lifelong
So
decisions.
if the county legislature were to vote on this and approve it, and at their January meeting, you'd only have about a month. I mean, that doesn't really make any sense, no?
It's a tight window. They had 3 months to get us the agreement, but they're leaving not a lot of time for the membership to make their decisions.
Was there any requesting to extend this deadline?
So they won't even talk. Back in September, I had asked them, is it going to be a mutual document? They let me know that they will give us a document. On Friday, when I got called to say that we have the document, our attorneys received it, I said, okay, when are we going to talk about it? And they said, just let us know what you think about it. I had a conversation again with somebody from the administration today, same thing, let us know what you think about it.
It just doesn't, I mean, just from John, is it your opinion that NIFA has to approve this as well as the legislature, or you're not sure yet? Where are we on that?
I mean, we haven't got specifically with how the county intends to do it. I mean, we were told initially that this was going to come because it was going to be a part of the collective bargaining, which would have to come to us. If it was done as a local ordinance, it may not have to come to us, but the county hasn't relayed to us how it was going to be done, and which comes to, one of our issues with this savings of 27 million, because they're already behind where they need to be to get this done in time, just especially if they're planning on saving that type of
So
money.
should we pass the resolution that's going to be before us, we would require the county to amend the plan for that amount, or
Yeah,
come up with a plan.
that is part of our
So
resolution.
we're taking that into consideration.
Can we, John, can we encourage, quote unquote, the county to speak to CSCA?
Well, a lot of the county is here, so I'm sure they're.
Okay.
I mean, it just seems to me that.
Well, who from the county is here? That would.
Can we
that
hear-
would
can we hear
have
from
the
them?
Stance to, and what department?
Yeah,
That has,
DPW,
that's,
yeah.
what's that
But
gonna
this
do?
is, this is, I mean, it just seems to me that, I remember when this was announced back a few months ago, and to all of a sudden, give you the agreement a week ago, almost a week ago, and to not act on it, they're not meeting for the rest of the year, is that correct?
Correct.
So the next meeting is going to be sometime, as you stated, in January. That gives the county employee a month or less to opt in, unless as Charo says, the deadline is extended. It seems to me that the program is bogus and may not be initiated at all.
Mr. Chairman, Council, just the intent was to involve all the unions, not just CSEA.
Right.
So obviously, this gentleman is speaking on behalf of CSEA, but it impacts all the unions.
Right.
Right.
But I think it just underlines the fact that we're planning on, should we pass the resolution requiring the county to address it with an amended
Yes.
budget.
I mean, I also,
Mr. Chairman, I'm a labor relations specialist for CSCA, and I represent 300,000 members throughout the state. I don't represent them, but CSCA represents them throughout the state. And I just would like to point out in response to that gentleman's comment that you could take all the other unions combined, and the 4,200 members of CSCA will be the majority of this.
Yeah.
and also there'll be an opportunity for the board, the directors, to ask questions of the county when we go over their financial plan. There's members of the budget office that are here.
It just seems to me that this program may have been a publicity stunt and nothing else. And, I'm sure it raised concerns amongst the union leaders, but the fact that it was announced in September, and here we are at the end of the year, and it still hasn't been formally presented, to me, it's just not worth the paper it's written on. And I think, from my perspective, the county ought to withdraw it, and if they want to come up with a new program with new dates, that's their prerogative. But unless they do that, to me, it doesn't make any sense. And if, in fact, it comes before NIFA, based on how ultimately is adopted, that's something that we would take very seriously. And I want to thank you for coming tonight, because we take your comments very seriously. It really raises concerns. We've got a lot of concerns in general about the budget and a lot of the projections that were made in there. And we'll talk about that later when we get to the vote on the budget. But I think you've raised a lot of very credible issues, and we'll be following it closely and be glad to meet with you at any time to continue discussing this.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We just want everyone to have a fair opportunity to make lifelong decisions and get the benefits they deserve.
Yeah, and that's a big decision to make, whether to retire.
Yes, sir.
And, to basically say, we're going to do this program and then wait until a month before it expires to do it is, in my opinion, not fair to any union employee of any of the unions involved here. That's for sure. Thank you. Are there any other comments or
Well
questions?
said. I
Yeah,
agree with you, Chairman.
Thank you very
By
much.
the way, I think there's a comment on the floor.
Please just.
Yeah,
I have a question. I'm from CSE, TPA, part of the DPW. Most of the members that are considering this incentive are under the impression that the legislature already had to approve this, and it was just a line item in the budget.
We can't litigate that here.
This is what the rumor mill is coming from our perspective.
And we're all sitting out here wondering, you know, if we're eligible to retire. We just want a date.
You'd have to really go to the county legislature and ask them. That's,
We're under the impression, this is a lot of members, I'm just not speaking on my behalf, I'm speaking on a lot of the people, and we really don't have much faith in this, this union representation after this last contract we got from the people.
All right,
But
well,
anyway, I just want to let you know that we are all under the impression that the legislature already had voted on this, had passed this. It was a line item in the budget, and this one was supposed to go, January 31st is when we were supposed to.
well, since no one is retired under it, I would not think that that program is in effect at this
You're telling me
point.
this whole thing is a fallacy right now?
I don't think that's what he said.
Yeah, I think,
we.
Yeah, I mean, it was a line, just to be clear, we do need to move on. It was a line in the budget, and that's what it was.
right.
It wasn't a program.
Wasn't a program.
Exactly.
And we're going to, you'll be pleased to know
My
that,
people and say this is not something you should really count on.
again, we're not,
You've got to
You gotta speak to
address
the
your.
legislature.
Yeah, you got to address your concerns to the legislature. We only will deal with it if, we deal with it as part of the budget, but we will only deal with it if in fact it comes before us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Happy holidays.
You should be, you should be confident that we'll deal with it in the context of our budget approval resolution.
Yes, we will. All right, so first item is the approval of the.
I'm sorry, I just have to just be clear.
I mean,
My name is Eleanor Carter from the Department of Social Services. I've worked at CPS for 32 years. I'm still an employee. Our entire Department of Social Services, people are just waiting to hear. The message is, it's a line in the budget. My question to you, understanding county government, which I do not, on a financial end of it, has this line in the budget been approved already by the legislature for this fiscal year?
It's
Yes.
been, the line in the
Or
budget.
has it still needs to?
Well, listen, we're not going to, we've got other business. I'll just tell you, it was approved by the legislature when the legislature adopted the budget.
but now it's before us.
But, right, the budget is before us.
Right.
But the program itself, miss, please, the program at this point is not in effect as far as where we know.
Right.
But you'd have to address that to the legislature. They're the ones that have to approve it. And then we might be in a position where we have to approve it too.
So the line in the budget is only there, it still has to be voted on?
Correct, as a program.
That card you just got in your hand probably will answer all your questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on here to our agenda. First of all, we have approval of the minutes of our meeting from September 9th of this year. First of all, do I hear a motion to adopt the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, Mo, is there a second?
Second.
All right, are there any changes, omissions, or corrections, or additions to those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, vote no. Okay, the minutes carry. Next is the consideration of the Nassau Healthcare Corporation contract with Thomas Stokes, who has been approved as the CEO of the hospital. First of all, is there anyone from the Nassau
Yes,
Healthcare Corporation?
Dan Lindberg is going to do the presentation of the contract.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, come on up. I've got some, but thank you very much.
Thank you as well. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and present to each of you the terms of the contract for NHCC's new Chief Executive Officer. Before I dive into the details, I thought it
You
was...
want to just identify yourself for
Oh,
the
I'm so
record?
sorry. I'm Dan Lindenberg. I'm the Interim General Counsel and Chief Legal Officer with Nassau Healthcare Corporation. And it's a pleasure to meet you again. Before I dive into the details, I thought I would start with a brief word about how happy the entire Newmick family is in recruiting a leader of such accomplishment. The appointment of Thomas Stokes was the result of a national search conducted by a preeminent national search firm, Korn Ferry. He came to us from his role as Chief Financial Officer of Weill Cornell Medicine and Vice President for Finance at Cornell University. He is a lifelong New Yorker who brings more than 25 years of experience overseeing finance and operations in top healthcare institutions and local government, along with expertise and commitment to public service. We are absolutely thrilled that he is joining us. Let me explain the terms of his contract that were negotiated. The term of Mr. Stokes' contract is 5 years, renewable for an additional 1 year by mutual consent. His base salary is $1 million for the first year, increasing annually by at least 4%, with higher adjustments at the board's discretion. He is eligible for annual incentive compensation of up to $250,000 based on performance. The goals will be set by the board. He is entitled to a deferred compensation plan where he will be credited with 25% of his base salary each year from 2027 to 2030, with all contributions vesting on October 1st, 2031, if he remains employed by the organization, subject to accelerated vesting upon certain conditions. He will receive 25 vacation days, 15 sick days, 5 personal days on January 1 of each year, all of which time is front-loaded and not accrued. He is entitled to participate in all other employee benefit plans or arrangements as Nassau Healthcare Corporation makes available to its employees. Nassau Healthcare Corporation will credit Mr. Stokes' past service with a public employer towards NISHIP's minimum service requirements for retiree and survivor healthcare coverage. Based on Mr. Stokes' representations that he has met the NISHIP's minimum required 5 years of benefits eligible service. He is eligible for fully paid retiree health, dental, and vision coverage for himself and for his spouse and eligible dependents if certain service requirements and other conditions are met. There are standard termination provisions for cause and without cause upon 90 days written notice, and he will receive severance pay of 3 months base salary if terminated by the Nassau Healthcare Corporation without cause, or Mr. Stokes resigns for good reason, and conditioned on his signing a separation agreement, including a full release of claims prepared by Nassau Healthcare Corporation.
Thank you. I want to make a couple of comments, but first, do I hear a motion to approve the contract?
So moved.
I'll
I
second
second
that.
it.
Okay.
It's been seconded.
Good. I just want to say thank you very much for your presentation. I just want to say a couple of things. You know, first of all, I've known Tom Stokes for a long, long time. I think he's going to be a terrific CEO of the hospital. I think a few things, just observations. First of all, you know, when you look at the salaries of CEOs of major hospitals, he is on the low side. In fact, we actually looked at the other 2 safety net hospitals in the state, Westchester and Erie County, and he is by far the lowest paid, or would be the lowest paid of any of the CEOs, and probably one of the lowest paid CEOs of any hospital in New York State. You know, and I think he is, I've known Tom, I've put it right on the record, I've known Tom. I urged him to participate in the search, he did. He came out on top. There were a number of candidates that were considered. I think he brings an excellent and tremendous blend of hospital experience and knowledge. I mean, he's been the CFO of Cornell Weill, one of the most recognized hospitals in the country. But he also worked in the county as a deputy county executive and understands the workings of Nassau County that are very complicated both governmentally and politically. I think bringing that expertise to bear at the Nassau University Medical Center, you couldn't find a better person. And I think the contract is more than reasonable. In fact, you know, I'm thrilled with it, and I'm thrilled with his appointment. I think he'll do a great job. I just want to say one other thing. Tom and I speak pretty regularly throughout the whole process, and I think the fact that he recognizes the role and partnership between NIFA and NUMC is critically important. You know, I've said this before, our relationship with NUMC, with the prior administration and prior board, has been terrible. And bringing someone in like him, and him recognizing the role that NIFA plays. You know, we're not here to run the hospital. That's the job of the new board at the medical center. But we're here to review and to work with the hospital to make sure they're a success. And I think this contract is reasonable, and I urge my fellow board members to approve it. I think he will be a terrific CEO over there. I've been asked this question. I think he would probably start sometime in mid-January. I welcome them, and I support this 100%. Anyone, any other directors want to make a comment?
I utter your same words. I also know Mr. Stokes, Tom, for a long, long time, and he's a remarkable man and very impressive, and I look forward to seeing what he will do over there at the hospital.
Thank you, Chairman.
And Mr. Chairman, he, obviously, for those of us who've been around here a while longer, he sat on both sides of this NIFA table as a deputy county executive.
He was on NIFA.
And as a board member as well. And I'm just pleased that he was willing to participate in the process, and I'm glad it worked out for him, so happy to support it.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you very much for coming. We've got several county contracts and hospital contracts, so Martha, you're going to take over?
Yes, I am. So we'll have the consideration of the county contract for Wellsback Electric, item NIFA number 660-25. The vendor was selected through an open competitive bidding process. The term of the contract is 18 months from the notice to proceed, and its valued at approximately $7.3 million. The county will be reimbursed through federal aid, approximately $5.8 million, and the county share is approximately $1.5 million. The county share will be funded with capital proceeds. Approval of this contract does not guarantee future borrowing authorization. The contract provides funding for the construction of 16 traffic signals and 4 traffic cameras at various intersections along Long Beach Road in Oceanside.
So my only question is, given what's going on with the legal status of the traffic cameras, is there any implication to what the federal refund would be, or is that, it's unrelated?
Not to my knowledge.
They'll be reimbursed regardless?
There is a representative from DPW that perhaps can answer.
It's really whether or not the reimbursement might be impacted by that.
No, Howard Lutz, I'm the Director of Traffic Engineering for Nassau County, Department of Public Works. There would be no impact that. These cameras are actually for traffic data viewing from our traffic management center in Westbury.
Not for tickets?
No, not for ticketing.
Okay, got it.
anyway.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
The next item is contracts for Greenberg Trarick LLP. We have received various contracts simultaneously from the County Attorney's Office for the law firm of Greenberg Trarick LLP. Therefore, we have aggregated the amount of the 2 contracts before you for the purposes of the requirement that staff submit contracts equal or greater than $5 million to the directors at a meeting for approval. The 2 contracts in front of you have a combined total of approximately $7.3 million. In both instances, the county attorney's office canvassed prospective firms from the qualified special counsel panel and selected Greenberg as the best firm to represent the county. Item 825, which is one of the contracts that you have in front of you, is the special counsel represents the county in the matter known as William F. Hasper. The contract term is from August 16, 2025 to completion and is valued at approximately $2.5 million. The next contract is item 801-25. The firm represents the county in the matter known as Wayne Hall versus the county, and the contract term is from November 3, 2025 to completion and is valued at $4.8 million.
So both of these are for litigation services?
Yes.
Okay.
Wayne Hall Jr.
Huh?
Which Wayne Hall?
Yeah.
The former mayor of Hempstead or his son? Not that it matters. I don't think we have any
I
conflicts on the
don't
board.
know that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, do I hear a motion
Yeah,
to adopt?
I'll move.
I'll second it. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, next.
The next item is going to be presented by Carl.
Thank you. What you have before you are two contract amendments between NHCC and locum tenens, which currently provides temporary healthcare professionals in 4 different departments in NHCC. Contract originated in 2021, and since then, NHCC has extended it with amendments until its total value, including the amendments I'm requesting your approval for, now totaled $7.1 million. The 2 most recent contract amendments that are currently before you were approved by NHCC's directors on August 13th and are for 1 year each until July 31st, 2026. They're for a total value of $840,000. Additionally, the 4 prior amendments that were approved at the staff level earlier this year for a total value of $1.295 million require ratification from the NIFA's directors. Your approval and ratification of these amendments are requested because the total value of the underlying contracts exceeds $5 million. Can I answer any questions before requesting your approval?
Anything out of the ordinary about the pay or bill rates for any category of nursing in the contract that we know of? It was ordinary? Competitive, I guess, is that?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the bill rates,
Okay.
but I don't believe that they're unreasonable.
The $5 million limit was hit for what period? Is that all for this year?
It's, the $5 million is cumulative.
That's right. So it crept up, yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of housekeeping with the new administration of these
Catching up.
contracts.
Yep.
So we're trying to bring them to the board's approval because all of a sudden we saw that they were exceeding the $5 million cap.
And just to point out that the prior administration of the hospital has a number of contracts that were never approved by their board or sent to NIFA for approval by our board.
That's true.
And some of those contracts are going to be coming to us early next year. I just wanted to put the board on notice that, there was a lot of business over there that wasn't done properly by either their board or our board.
I think I'll go ahead and move to approve.
I'll second it. Are there any questions or further comments? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, 6. John?
That's Connell.
Oh, it's Connell? Okay.
This item is the approval of scopes of services and selection and retention of a firm to undertake reviews and provide findings and reports regarding Nassau Regional Off-Track Betting Corporation, the Nassau University Medical Center, and the Nassau County Industrial Development Agency. State legislation requires NIFA to conduct biennial audits of these entities and to generate findings and reports thereon. Previous audits were completed in 2022 and 2024, and the next round of audits must be finished by December 31st of 2026. In 2022, the directors approved a list of pre-qualified firms to provide these services following a request for qualifications. You are now being asked to approve the scopes of services and the selection and retention of a firm from the list for this upcoming year's audits. The firm will undertake the reviews of the entities and provide the required findings and reports before the deadline. Staff recommends the selection of Deloitte & Touche LLP to perform the services based on the firm's qualifications, experience, and past performance. The firm successfully undertook the reviews of OTB and NUMC in 2022 and of all 3 entities in 2024. And you're also being asked to authorize the executive director to negotiate and execute an agreement for services with the firm as described in the materials. I'm happy to address any questions you may have.
Just first of all, to disclose that I was chairman of the Nassau County Industrial Development Agency. I recused myself from the prior audit because I was chairman during at least part of that time that they were auditing. But I want to put on the record that I was chairman of the Nassau County Industrial Development Agency, not for this time period.
Not for this.
But for the prior time period. The other thing I just want to state for the record, and I've stated this a number of times, is that, in my opinion, this is a waste of money and resources on the part of NIFA. The legislation was passed a number of years ago for whatever reason, and I'm hopeful that next year the legislature will repeal this so that we don't have to go through this semi or every other year process of doing audits of 3 agencies. They're already being audited by other entities And I just think it's redundancy, but it's also wasting taxpayer money. So I want to make that very clear.
Mr. Chairman, I'll associate myself with your comments on the need for the work, but also I'll disclose that I was the chairman of Nassau Off-Track Betting Corporation. However, it was 20 years ago, but just for the record, it's probably not covered under any audit.
Not covered.
I'd be surprised if you could find records that go back that far. But, for the record, obviously not an issue, but in case it's a question.
And what is the total cost of this? Is that
It's,
110,000?
Not to exceed $110,000, provided the executive director, at his discretion, may authorize an additional $40,000 per review. Each review is $110,000.
I mean, I'm okay approving it because we are still under the
We have to follow the law.
law. Got to follow the law.
Right, we have no choice.
But I'm hopeful that next year the legislature will repeal the requirement. All right, do I hear a motion to adopt?
Made, please.
Second.
Okay. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Now we have, the next is the designation of a records management office.
I have that, Mr. Chairman.
John?
On April 16, 2024, the directors adopted resolution number 24-1049 entitled Adoption of the Retention and Disposition Schedule for New York State Local Government, which adopted the retention and disposition schedule for New York local government records. The schedule specifies that sections 5719 of the State Arts and Cultural Affairs law requires each local to designate a records officer whose duties are described in the state regulation. The purpose of this resolution provides that the chief executive officer, meaning me, shall designate the records management officer subject to the approval of the governing body. On December 1st, 2025, I designated NIFA's general counsel ex officio, in this case Conal Denyon, to serve as the records management office. This resolution approves such designation and ratifies all actions in furtherance thereof. So this is simply to grant me the authority to appoint the records management officer as the general counsel ex officio in the future and for now, which is required by the law.
Connell wins the Booby Prize?
Can we interrogate the candidate, please? Can we interrogate him?
Was he interviewed?
Okay, do I hear a motion to adopt?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, who was that?
Lester.
Lester and Mo. Okay. Any questions or further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
Okay, the next one is also being handled by me. NIFA's operating bank has requested updated documentation authorizing NIFA employees to be designated bank account signatories. Due to the recent staff change, it is necessary and appropriate to authorize by title the NIFA employees to act as such. In addition, Martha Worsham was recently appointed as Director of Finance and Planning and Analysis of NIFA and continues to serve concurrently as Deputy Director of NIFA. It is necessary and appropriate to designate the titles of Deputy Director and Director of Financial Planning and Analysis as officers of NIFA. So this is all housekeeping, a resolution for some housekeeping materials.
Okay,
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it. Or Charo seconds it. Any questions or comments by the board? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Now we've got the consideration of Nassau County's multi-year financial plan for 26-29, which also includes the 2026 county budget. John, are you going to make the presentation?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
On October 30th, 2025, the county legislature adopted a multi-year financial plan for 2026 through 2029, the first year of which is the 2026 budget, without any amendment of the administration's proposed multi-year financial plan. Consequently, the adopted financial plan that is before the directors for approval tonight is identical to the proposed plan that we analyzed previously and discussed, and that was supposed to be discussed at our previous meeting, but was a plan was sent to you in late October. Let me elaborate on that point, which speaks to, excuse me, let me be clear that these financial, in the report, the staff determined that the fiscal outlook in the major funds remains extremely concerning, with the near-term position propped up by a one-shot infusion of resources from reserves held outside of the major funds. Just to be clear, these one-shot funds were the refinancing by NIFA many years ago, was the ARPA and CARES Act money. So
This is COVID and COVID-related reserves basically concluding,
continuing to be used.
to be
yes,
used
correct.
for operating expenses.
And let me be clear that the use of these financial mechanisms do not violate the NIFA Act. However, the county's reliance on significant reserves in moderately strong economic times demonstrate a lack of long-term fiscal discipline. Simply put, the county will deplete its rainy day funds before it even starts to rain. Because of these financial risks discussed in the staff report, we project that the county will be unable to avoid incurring a major operating fund deficit of 1% for more than as defined by the NIFA Act through fiscal year 2029. Our opinion might change in the unlikely event that the economy improves significantly or there is a large and unanticipated infusion of another reoccurring fund. Overall, we identified the significant risk to the adopted plan's balance, which we estimate can range between $93 million and $123 million in 2026 to $267 million and $333 million in 2029. As some of our friends in the county have declared, not all of NIFA's concerns will materialize. We don't disagree with that. Although other oversight monitors ignore the out years, which we are statutorily mandated to review. We are not alone in conducting this important exercise of analyzing budgets. Further, our responsibility as an oversight monitor is to base our projections on conservative revenue and expenditures assumptions and also reflect the explicit spending decisions articulated by the county and codified in the budget as appropriations. Consequently, there are certain projected risks in 2026 that stand out from others, and with the passage of time since our staff report was released in October, these have unfortunately moved away from the county's assumptions. Because of this, we recommend these concerns should be addressed sooner rather than later. The resolution for your consideration directs the county executive to submit to NIFA no later than March 15, 2026, a modified financial plan that addresses variances arising from the following unrealized fiscal year 2026 budget items. 1, sales tax revenue in the amount of any shortfall in the county's baseline assumption for the beginning of fiscal year 2026. This exact shortfall will be known by mid-February.
So here, because we're giving them time until March, they would be truing up to what they already know about the first 2 months of the year.
Correct.
So that's not an unreasonable request. They would have that data.
Correct. And also since they passed their budget, and I'm sure that you can elaborate if you ask some questions, but right now, because sales tax has continued to be lower than the county has anticipated in the last 2 months.
Right, the run rate's not great.
They're further behind.
Got it, okay.
2, health insurance costs in the amount resulting from the county's underestimation of increased rates by the New York State Insurance Program and other providers. So we know the county at this point already knows that number, and they know that that number's been underestimated in the millions. 3, which was already discussed, the voluntary separation incentive program in the amount of any unachieved savings results from non-approval of the program over estimated participation or any other basis. Again, by March 15th, they will know the success of this program and the amount of employees who have decided to take it, or whether or not this program has ever even materialized.
So basically, whatever is manifest from the earlier discussion in the meeting.
Correct. Capital resources from debt due to the inability to recognize any such amount as revenue under generally accepted accounting principles. In essence, the county has already in their budget, I think it's 17.5?
17.5.
17.5.
The budget includes 17.5 in capital resources for that, yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Reserves
sorry,
that
so
cannot be-
borrowed money still isn't revenue. After all these years, borrowed money is still not revenue.
On the GAP, it is accepted, it's on the NIFA calculation that is not accepted as revenue.
Yeah,
So.
because it's borrowed money and not revenue, that's why. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So
Just
therefore, from the get-go, we won't be.
still true after all these years. Yeah, okay.
We got
The resolution also requires the modified financial plan to include a contingency plan for the following at-risk fiscal year 2026 budget items. One, the ticket reconciliation program, which requires the county legislator's approval. They've estimated a revenue of $5 million, and that program hasn't even passed the county legislature. The income and expense law, which was proposed several years ago and included in prior budgets, but has been suspended to ongoing litigation and continues to be suspended by ongoing litigation, of $10 million in revenue budgeted. And then sale of the county property, which we consider the revenue anticipated from property sales to be at risk until specific parcels are identified. We're putting at risk $13.7 million. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you, John. First of all, do I hear a motion? Well, wait.
Sorry, question or comment. In your estimation, all of these items that you've identified should be addressable by March 15th?
Absolutely. And it's over $100 million.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
About, maybe it was 2 years ago, the county received millions of dollars from the group to lease the Nassau Coliseum. And then the Sands Group, and then that fell apart. Whatever happened? Did we ever have to give money? Did the county have to give money back?
So,
Do you want to come on?
yeah.
Yeah, some of the money was pretty much given back.
So it was originally 50 million that the county received, and the new agreement changed that amount to 30. 30 the county gets to keep, and it was, right now it's sitting in the FAR revenue. It's been recognized, 2 years have been recognized. This will be, I believe this is the last year, don't quote me on that one, but it's 30 million that they're gonna be able to get. And the remainder is supposed to be returned to the vendor, to Sands.
If nothing happens.
Yes, so nothing is happening with that, yes.
No matter what, it's going to be returned to the Sands, I believe.
Right, only 30 million, when they redid the agreement, it was only 30 million that they were able to keep, yeah.
Chris, is that right?
Sorry, what's that?
The money that's to return to the Sands?
We're taking it just as Mark had suggested, that it was taken in over the number of years.
Let me just, a few things. First of all, just as a question, I guess, for you, John, and this is just so you know, the public knows that we've analyzed this very carefully. We issued a report about the budget several months ago. There have been, as John said, a lot of changes, most of them negative in terms of the budget. This resolution basically adopts the multi-year financial plan, which includes the 2026 budget, but requires the county to provide updates by March 15th on a lot of it. One of the questions that I raised with the staff is, what happens if they don't do it? What happens if March 15th goes by and the county doesn't do? Give us updates. What are our options in terms of what actions we could take?
Well, we obviously, under the statute, we have a lot of authority to direct them to do it, and if they fail to direct, they're failing to follow the law, which can have certain civil and criminal repercussions.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think because we did this several years ago, there was a point where we requested changes, then we demanded changes, and then ultimately we made the changes. There's a process by which they have a few chances to make a change, and then we can actually make a change to a line item of the budget ourselves, if we felt the need to do so.
I mean, I'm encouraging the county to meet the March 15th deadline for updates, but, based on a lot of what I see, it's possible that this board may have to take further action. I just wanted to say, we've spent a lot of time, both internally and externally, on this plan. I think it's very shaky. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for the fact that this was December 18th and not earlier, I might vote and authorize us to vote to reject the budget. And I've discussed this extensively with our staff. And while I'm okay with adopting the resolution as stated, approving the multi-year plan with the updates required, I want to say very clearly, I am very concerned about this budget. There are people in the administration who have talked about their budgetary prowess and how accurate this budget is. But if you really look at it, and just to take the sales tax numbers, and one thing about the sales tax numbers are, budget obviously projects for next year, but the numbers for this year are actual. And the county is way behind in terms of what they projected for this year and what they're really collecting. I think that's endemic of this entire budget. It's on shaky grounds. And while we didn't want to, and I certainly wouldn't encourage rejecting the budget at this late date because of the chaos that it would create in early January for the employees in particular, I'm very concerned about it. I think this budget has a lot of misconceptions. I think John went through a number of them. I'm very worried about it. I think we've all stated at times that the reserve funds should not be used for operating expenses, but they are being used. I think this budget and this multi-year plan is poorly constructed. I commend our staff, and even though Evan Cohn is not a full-time employee anymore, he gave a lot of his expertise, and I thank you, Evan, and I praise our staff for the work that they've done, Martha and John, Connell, Carl, the whole group of you. But I will vote for this resolution with great reluctance, and only because I want to spare the chaos that may come from rejecting it at this point. I want to make it very clear that if March 15th comes and we are not satisfied with either the county has not responded or not satisfied to our meeting that this multi-year plan and budget is balanced, I will ask the board to take the most stringent actions that we can take against the county. As far as I'm concerned, they've got until March 15th. They've got to make major revisions and changes. I think some of them are based upon actual numbers that, like sales tax, that we're already receiving. But if they don't comply, or if they comply weakly, I would encourage this board in March to take the strongest actions we could take. This is just, I think this is real peril. And, I will support the resolution reluctantly.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I support the resolution, but I would agree only because of the 7 items we've included that require the county to address matters of fact and finances before March 15th.
Okay. So with that, first of all, I will make a motion to adopt the multi-year plan with the conditions as set forth in the resolution.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mo's a second. Is there any further discussion, questions, or comments about it?
I just want to make one comment, and it's really just for the layperson, or anybody who may be listening that's not here, or even someone sitting out there. When the board or anybody else talks about one-shot deals, it's a one-shot, it's money that came in, and it's a one-time, whether it was for COVID. I mean, the county received tons of money for COVID, and when you talk about the out years, the budget is a red herring now. It looks beautiful, but as you said, by the year 29, it'll be so in debt if they don't have reoccurring monies coming in each year, and that's what it's meant by the one-shots.
I think, Chara, you're 100% on target, 100%. Okay, hearing no further comments, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the multi-year financial plan is adopted with the conditions as set forth. We've got one additional item, the consideration of issuance of general obligation bonds by Nassau County. And before Connell describes what we're being asked to do, once again, I'm very disappointed in the county's reluctance to share important information with NIFA and its staff for a number of months. And while there has been a change in bond counsel, there is no excuse for withholding information that's necessary. And, in discussing this with staff, in the end, based upon the letter that we received from the new bond counsel, we put this on the agenda. But I want to indicate very clearly that I will not approve any further borrowings after this one if the bond counsel and the county do not cooperate with NIFA and the staff. This would be my last vote for it. Again, like with the multi-year financial plan, I'm very reluctant. I had a long discussion with Connell and John about this. We just received a letter from the new bond counsel a couple of days ago. And, I'm not an expert, but that should not be tolerated. We've asked for this information for months, and to just receive it 2 days ago is not appropriate. And, also, frankly, it's an item that was added to the agenda at the last minute, and we debated whether or not to even add it or not. But I want to make it clear to the county that I will not recommend or vote for any further borrowings if we don't receive timely responses to our questions and concerns. Connell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The county's informed NIFA of its desire to raise money to pay for its general and sewer capital projects in the amount of approximately $103.18 million plus cost of issuance through its sale of bonds. The county is seeking NIFA's approval for borrowing as required during the control period. The amounts requested slightly exceed the county's proposed multi-year plan borrowing assumptions for spring 2026 on an aggregate basis, which was $100 million, although the county has informed us that the associated debt service is consistent with the proposed plan. The county's also let us know that all of the bond ordinances have been approved by the county legislature. Any projected advances approved that are not advanced by the end of the year, would not be approved for borrowing. And the county intends to issue the bonds in the first half of 2026, but it needs to get our approval now for expenditures made in fiscal '25 from cash advances. They need that approval before the end of this year. Our approval shall be limited to only those items or projects that are eligible to be capitalized in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and have an original period of probable usefulness of 5 years or greater, other than for public safety vehicles. Therefore, you're being asked to approve the county's proposed issuance of bonds under those conditions and terms as outlined in the materials and the resolution. And I'm happy to address any questions you may have.
What was it that we didn't get until the last minute? Was it the bond, was it the legal opinion, or?
We posed a series of questions to the county regarding their previous borrowing, and we'd asked that back in June, and actually we'd asked it formally in June. We'd asked the questions verbally a number of times in May, didn't get any response, sent the letter in June and got ignored by it.
So this was not the
ignored.
esoterica of some arcane legal theory?
No,
This was
it's
simply answering
serious
questions we
questions.
asked.
We got one response from a non-bond counsel, from one of their litigation lawyers, that was really unacceptable and insulting, frankly. Didn't address the question, and then we got total silence for six months.
And debt service is lower because the rates are lower, even though the principal's a little higher? Is that kind of how that's?
Yeah, there's an assumption that the county makes. I think, Steve, there's 5.5% coupon, so they're actually, the current rates are a little lower than that, so they're anticipating that they're going to have a little savings.
I think, Mr. Chairman, people who have come before us have found that when they answer our questions, it's a lot easier to get things approved. They ought to be encouraged to do that, maybe the next time sooner.
Yeah, I mean, serious.
Otherwise, I agree with your
serious
thought process on
questions.
the next time after that. So.
And I just add, it's an absolute lack of cooperation, an absolute lack of respect for our questions and our position, and it was really unprofessional on the county's part.
I just wish the county was as cooperative as the new board at the hospital has been now, and their attitude towards our staff on this issue and other issues is deplorable. And I agree with Chris 100%. Are there any further questions?
I would encourage the county to turn over a new leaf and stop childish behavior in 2026.
Yeah. It's really easy to answer
Hear,
the
hear.
question. We don't ask really tough questions. Well, we might ask tough questions, but the answers are not hard to give.
They were appropriate.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so do I hear a motion to
I'll move.
adopt? All right, Mo moves, is there a second? Lester seconds it. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. John and Kyle, do we have any need for an executive session tonight?
I was just thinking that, Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware of anything.
No.
No?
I'm not.
Any board members interested, or can we just adjourn this meeting?
I would make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
All
I
right.
would second that. I would second that.
Before we do that, I want to wish everybody
Yes.
a very happy holidays, a great Christmas, and all the best for the new year.
Yeah,
Same here, thank you, Mo.
thank you. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Just to indicate to the board members that we will be calling around, we do intend to have a meeting in January, and we will work with you on a date that works for all of you. And again, I just want to repeat, I want to thank you. You know, this has been a great year. NIFA has done a lot of things. I think our singular greatest accomplishment was working with the governor and her staff to get new legislation for the NUMC, and it was a great accomplishment. And I want to thank all the board for their cooperation and their help, and I want to thank you for coming this evening. I want everyone to have a great new year, and we'll be back to you in early January about a date for a January meeting.
And Mr. Chairman, we'd like to thank you for your leadership and your guidance and for everything that you do for NIFA.
I second that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay.